what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, warp speed like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, where the guardians of the galaxy, like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro Train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, really there is no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Pick me up on that mothership so we can fly away, fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to this summer.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to this summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to this summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to this summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And my name is Derrick Jones, and I'm your host. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click that bell. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And while you're listening tonight, if you like what you hear, make sure you put that thumb. Click that thumb so that YouTube knows that you like what you hear, and it'll kind of sort of try to push some more people this way. So tonight's episode is going to be, I would say, enlightening for a lot of people. Some people, it's just a refresher because we are human beings that, we deal with conflict every day. And when people are married or in long-term relationships, conflict happens often for a lot of people, and it's about how we choose to deal with this. So tonight we're going to take a deep dive and I got some good stuff for you. So stay tuned. If you have not been here before, this is also an audio podcast. We are all over the place. Wherever you can find a podcast, you can get the audio only. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, everywhere basically. Just make sure you go there, make sure you subscribe there, and have that pop up every time a new episode pops up, and you can listen to it at your leisure. Also, every Monday night at 8 p.m., the Real Shop Talk airs. I am currently no longer a part of the show. However, I do support my brothers over there, so I will continue to support them. Make sure you go to realshoptalk.net, and I'll be making some guest appearances on there every now and then as time permits. But make sure you go there. There's amazing topics, amazing content every single Monday at 8 p.m. So just make sure you tune in there. And without further ado, the way that I normally run the show, for those of you that are new, I normally pause for 3 seconds. I start the podcast, and then once we finish, I pause for another 3 seconds so I can have some space to chop it off, and you get all the good audio in the middle that I talked about for the audio podcast. So, without further ado, give me 3 seconds, and we'll get right into it. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I'm your host. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight's episode is going to be a good one. We talk about this topic a lot here, but I always like to talk about nuance. We'll hit the same topic from a bunch of different angles. And tonight we're talking about 4 communication habits that are very good predictors that would lead a couple into divorce if it goes unchecked. So that means they serious, y'all. I took this information. This is going to have some Derek nuance to it, but I took this information from a psychologist named John Gottman, and he has a book called The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and it's talking about these different communication styles that we have and how we kind of communicate poorly and what they mean. And he found 4 different areas and 4 different styles of communication that will make your relationship go all bad. So, some of these things, like I said, are going to be, they're going to be eye-opening for some of y'all. And for some of y'all living in this right now. So, this may give you some direction on exactly how you're treating your partner. Because I'm a very big advocate for better communication, non-hurtful communication, right? Because we tend to hurt each other when we communicate badly, and then we sit on that stuff and it festers over time. So I'm going to start. So if you see me looking over, it's because I am reading the list from his book so that I don't mess it up, since I'm using his content. But I'm definitely going to put my twist on it, and feel free to comment on this as we go through, or if you have any questions. So the first horseman, or the first communication style that could possibly lead to divorce, is criticism. So I'm going to read a little excerpt about what that looks like, and then I'm going to do that for all of them, and then I'll expound into it. So it says criticism. The first horseman is criticism. Criticizing your partner is different than offering a critique or voicing a complaint. The latter two are about specific issues, whereas the former is an ad hominem attack. It is an attack on your partner at the core of their character. In effect, you are dismantling their whole being when you criticize. So what they did here is they illustrated the difference between a complaint and a criticism, right? And so the examples they give is for a complaint. I was scared when you were running late and didn't call me. I thought we had agreed that we would do that for each other. That's a complaint. A criticism would sound like this. You never think about how your behavior is affecting other people. I don't believe you are that forgetful. You're just selfish. You never think of others. You never think of me. You see how different that feels just hearing that, right? And I always tell people words mean things. The ones you choose mean things. Words do hurt, right? And so when you're in a relationship where you're supposed to love this person, this is your partner, this is your spouse, and you keep saying what that person doesn't do and you direct it at them, the person, you don't care about the house. That's why you didn't take the trash out. A personal attack, even if I didn't take y'all know I always talk about the trash. Even if I didn't take the trash out, you are now attacking my character, the person that you love, not someone off the street. Now I'm supposed to receive that and do what with it? Right? What am I supposed to do with that? It's probably gonna piss me off. Because normally when you talk to someone like that, there's a certain tone that comes along with it. There's a certain attitude that comes along with it. I'm gonna read that again, right? Because I need y'all to feel the impact of it. The criticism, I'm emphasize the words that hurt. You never think about how your behavior is affecting other people. I don't believe that you are that forgetful. You're just selfish. You never think of others. You never think of me. And if any of y'all have been following me for any considerable amount of time, when you use absolute words like never and always, it's a trigger for me, because that means if we've been together for 5 years, never means from day one all the way to 5 years. Never. That's gonna be a sore spot for anyone, because we know that's not true. And if life is that horrible for 5 years and the word never comes up all the time, why are you there? Never? So think about that. When you criticize someone as opposed to having a complaint or some kind of suggestion, the words you choose hurt. And in a lot of cases, the person who's receiving the criticism is going to have a reaction, right? Sometimes that reaction is not to say anything, but okay, or yes, dear. Whatever you say, let me hurry up and do it so you can shut up. You don't want that type of relationship. We talk about this a lot on the show about how that stuff compounds itself over time, and you start to really despise the sight of the person because of all of the criticisms that come. Think about how it would feel as a grown adult being chastised in that way, but still sitting in the relationship knowing that you sitting across the dinner table talking to a person the next day that just treated you like that. But you don't want to rock the boat, so you're going to be quiet to keep the peace. And here's the interesting thing about those of us who like to keep the peace. Even if you've achieved quiet because you shut up, if we want to call it peace, you've created a peaceful environment, but you have not created a peaceful environment within yourself. So inside is still chaotic, even though the outside is quiet. So did you really win? I need for y'all to let that marinate and soak in for a minute, right? We're going to go, and then we're going to talk about how to kind of combat some of these things. What are some better ways to say it, right? We know that when we're in relationships, there's going to be a lot of stuff we don't like. There's going to be some things that maybe the person forgets to do or neglects. But you know that you decided to date this person, have a whole relationship with them, and marry them. If they were a neglectful person that never did anything, you wouldn't have been with them. These are moments in time. Now, if you're with somebody that's doing it every day, then you got a whole nother conversation to have. They just really don't give a damn. Most of us don't do things like this every day. Happens every once in a while and it pisses you off. Cool. But then what you decide how you engage that person that you love. So think about that. We're gonna move on to number two. Number two's an ugly one. The second horseman is contempt. So I'm going to read what that means. When we communicate in this state, we are truly mean. We treat others with disrespect, mock them with sarcasm, ridicule, call them names, and mimic or use body language such as eye rolling or scoffing. The target of contempt is made to feel despised and worthless. Contempt goes far beyond criticism. While criticism attacks your partner's character, contempt assumes a position of moral superiority over them. So think about that, right? It hurts just reading that, right? So here's an example of what contempt would look like if someone was kind of communicating with you like that. You're tired? Cry me a river. I've been with the kids all day, running around like mad to keep this house going. And all you do when you come home from work is flop down on the sofa like a child and play those idiotic video games. I don't have time to deal with another kid. Could you be any more pathetic? See how that feel? Right? There's a lot of communication that's missing in there, right? And another school of thought or another type of person would say, well, we don't know what happened before that. It doesn't matter what happened before that. Y'all are two grown adults. One person is talking to another grown adult like this. A grown adult that you don't plan on leaving. Picture that. You don't plan on leaving. But you're going to engage them in this way, and I'm assuming that this is something that happens often. Imagine how the other party feels, male or female. Imagine how they feel. And like I said, if you really widen this up, it's traumatic to take this in. And what happens with trauma? Fight, flight, or freeze. Some people will come back at you and talk about what you're not doing. So now you got two people doing it. Some people choose to just shut up and let it go, because this is just what we do. I'm going to read a couple of these comments I see coming out. Esmeralda says, I've been the keep the peace type and ended up causing so much damage to myself. Yeah. I'm part of the Keep the Peace Club too. I used to do that for years and years, and it doesn't really buy you peace. That's the thing. It doesn't buy you peace at all. Not internally. Love Tucker says, been there. Hope I evolved away from that. Don't revert back to that. Yeah. This contempt thing, man. Let me tell you, man. Overall, like over all of these, right? It's two of them I haven't even said yet. This stuff hurts. You can have a grown 6'5", 280-pound dude and say this to him, it's gonna hurt. I don't care how tough he is. He ain't gonna like it. No human being should be talked to like this, especially when this is someone that you're married to or in a long-term relationship with that you don't plan on leaving. If you don't plan on leaving, that means this is going to keep happening over and over until it explodes. And then somebody's not going to leave because of the kids and all this other stuff. It ain't cool at all. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of this contempt thing. That's why I'm pausing here for a minute, because I'm triggered. Yeah, it don't feel good at all. At all. I used to, story time. I'm going to give y'all like maybe like 60-second story time. I used to be in a relationship with somebody who would do this contempt thing every time that they drank a little bit. And when they would do that, in that moment, they would look at me with such disgust. And they would say, I don't even know why you here. And she had a daughter at the time, right? We don't need you. I don't even know why you here. You ain't no good. And then when she sobered up, she was like, did I say that? I'm sorry. And then it would happen again, right? And the thing about it is, hearing those words, it hurt. But like in my mind, I was like, that's not really her. We'll be all right. I can tell her I don't like it, but I ain't gonna go in too hard because I don't want to leave. But inside, I eventually left. But inside, it's ugly. It's ugly. Let me read a couple comments, then I'm gonna go on to the third one. Definitely keep the peace, but sometimes I bottle it up and it will come out exactly the way you demonstrated. Not healthy. Yeah. Kalisha says emotional pain is far worse to me than any other pain I've experienced. Yeah. It takes a toll on us, guys. This stuff right here, it's in words, but it affects us emotionally. And like I said, this stuff turns into trauma that we carry with us. It's certain words that people can say that you don't even know that will make you feel that whole energy all over again. For me, it's never and always. Them two words, it makes my whole entire body tense up because I'm like, you don't know me like that to be saying I never did this. Don't do that. Don't do that. My boss did that with me a couple of times and I was like, I've been here 23 years, dog. Stop. Never. So anyway, sorry you had to go through that. I have family members who were like that. Yeah. Liquor is the truth serum. Yeah. It someone like me who was like a giver, people pleaser, and you do so much for the person, you hear that, it's like a knife in the chest. Cause you like, I do all of this and you telling me you don't need me and you don't want me. What? So anyway, we going to number 3. Cause if I sit on that one too long, I'm gonna be punching the air. Hey Alicia. Number 3. And y'all know this one all too well. And I don't even know I don't even know all of y'all circumstances, but either y'all have been this person or dealt with this person at least once in your life. I guarantee it. The third horseman is defensiveness. And this is what it says. And it's typically a response to criticism. We talked about criticism earlier. Being defensive is a response to criticism. We've all been defensive, and this horseman is nearly omnipresent when relationships are on the rocks. When we feel unjustly accused, we fish for excuses and play the innocent victim so our partner will back off. Unfortunately, this strategy is almost never successful. Our excuses just tell our partner that we don't take their concerns seriously and we won't take responsibility for our mistakes. So there's a different, I'm gonna give you a what they're calling a defensive response versus a question. So the defensive response would sound like this. I was just too darn busy today. As a matter of fact, you know just how busy my schedule was. Why didn't you just do it? Right? We'll say, why didn't they just take the trash out? So that response in its negativity, and we don't, and so okay, so let's back up. Let's back up. Let me do this in order because I see it's in the order. So the question is, the one person is saying, did you call Betty and Ralph to let them know we're not coming tonight as you promised this morning? So it's a simple question. But the person immediately goes on the defense and says, I was just too darn busy today. As a matter of fact, you know how busy my schedule was. Why didn't you just do it? So see how that feels? When that first question wasn't anything negative. Yeah, Love Tucker. I agree with you. But this I'm reading it. So it says this partner not only responds defensively, but they reserve blame in an attempt to make the other partner's fault. Instead, a non-defensive response can express acceptance of responsibility, admission of fault, and understanding of your partner's perspective. Yeah, tone is important. Definitely. Because like if that response in the end could have been said exactly the same way in a different tone. Maybe not, I was just too darn busy today. Like if it were me, I would have said, I wasn't able to do it. I was busy today. Do you mind calling them for me? Right? They just put a little extra stank on it. And that's the problem. It's when you do it that way, that original partner is going to feel away. And now you might end up in a whole argument over that. And all they did was ask you, did you call so-and-so like you said you was going to do earlier today? Just want to make sure. And people go through stress and different things during the day. And as we know, sometimes we take that out on the people that are closest to us sometimes, but we have to be mindful about that. Because everything in our environment is going to pay for whatever we bring into the environment, right? So they're saying what you should have said. Oops, I forgot. I should have asked you this morning to do it because I knew my day would be packed. That's my fault. Let me call them right now. So even reading that, I can read it in a different tone than the other one. So Love Tucker says this part feels like my whole last relationship. Yeah, we been there. Been there. That one, I have, man, I got stories. I got stories for all 40s. So we gonna move on to number 4. The fourth horseman is what's called stonewalling. And stonewalling which is usually a response to contempt, which we discussed earlier as that really mean language. Stonewalling occurs when the listener withdraws from the interaction, shuts down, and simply stops responding to their partner. Rather than confront the issues with their partner, people who stonewall can make evasive maneuvers such as tuning out, turning away, acting busy, or engaging in obsessive or distracting behaviors. It says it takes time for the negativity created by the first 3 horsemen to become overwhelming enough that stonewalling becomes an understandable out. But when it does, it frequently becomes a bad habit, and unfortunately, stonewalling isn't easy to stop. It's a result of feeling physiologically flooded. And when we stonewall, we may not even be in a physiological state where we can discuss things rationally. If you feel like you're stonewalling during a conflict, stop the discussion and ask your partner to take a break. Who's ever done this before? We kind of briefly touched on this. I was talking about earlier where sometimes people retreat because they don't even want to be bothered with it because it's stressful. And one of the lessons I learned just in this journey of just doing research is when people do have conflict, there are physiological things that happen that some people need to take time to breathe and take a break because their body is starting to kind of tense up or get stressed. The other person doesn't realize that it's also physiologically. They take it personally. And I'm guilty of that. I take it personally and didn't realize the depth of when somebody says I need to take a break. Give me a few minutes so we can re-engage. It's important to understand that it's not just the person walking away, it's them getting themselves together so that they don't have more physiological change, which can be detrimental to their health sometimes, but also so that they don't speak to you in a manner that's hurtful, right? If you engage a person that's stonewalling when they're not ready to talk, then they could go and confront you with one of the other three horsemen in retaliation for you not giving them the time. Love Tucker says, I've had people not respect the give me a moment request. Not respecting that gets the nasty lashing out. Right. So when you do that, then that person will lash out with contempt, criticism, or whatever else just because you didn't allow them. It's almost kind of like, I would even call it a boundary, right? I'm giving you a boundary and you're crossing the boundary. And so you're not respecting me, right? So it was a hard lesson for me to learn. But I understand it. So stonewalling, even in its the reason why people do it is also something that isn't healthy to the relationship and could lead to y'all splitting up or divorcing because you have not addressed the issues that bother you, and at some point you're going to resent that person because you haven't said anything, and your relationship starts to change. Your behavior starts to change because you don't even want to deal with it anymore. You just done. You don't even want to talk. And when you get to that point, when you don't want to talk, almost every time there's a conflict, then that defines how your relationship moves. Now y'all just acting in a Broadway play at this point. Everybody's pretending to be whatever, and you're not really addressing the issues. So all of this stuff means something when you are trying to maintain a marriage or even a long-term relationship. To understand what these things mean, I'm reading the comments, sorry. To understand what these things mean can help you understand maybe some things about yourself, and furthermore, maybe understand some things about your partner and what it really looks like. Because I always tell you, once you have a name to put on a thing that's happening, then now you can start to work on ways on how to correct it, right? Because maybe we felt some of these things, but we didn't know exactly what it was or what to call it. And now you can kind of put names to it and define it and really look at where you need to attack. And sometimes, and I'm going to always say this, you may need a third party to kind of look at it and tell you where those issues are and how to work around them and work through them. So I want to make sure that you guys, like, if you know somebody that needs to listen to this, make sure you send them this, share this with them. Because we know that all of these 4 things happen every day. Sometimes all 4 of them happen within a relationship. at the same time. And I don't want, and you guys shouldn't want, your relationships or even people that you're close to, anybody, I wouldn't want anybody to have to feel the pain that comes along with these. Because it ain't cute. And we'll sit in relationships for years dealing with it. And it to the point of the title of this show, it very well could lead to divorce. Very well could lead to divorce if you keep dealing with it over and over and over again. So I'm going to wrap this up and land my big old jumbo jet. Next week is going to be an amazing show. I got guests coming up this month that's going to knock your socks off. Some amazing topics. I am still diligently building this relationship academy for you guys. I need for that thing to be, it's not going to be perfect because there's no such thing, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. And when I launch it next month, it's going to breathe for years and years on end. I'm making sure the technology is straight. I'm making sure the content is amazing. So stay tuned. It's coming, guys. An ebook is coming as well. I got things in the queue, and I want you guys to keep rocking with me. Make sure that you go to relationshipgumbo.info, and if you're not following me on Instagram, the Instagram pop-up I did today was enlightening. So if you go to my Instagram page, you're going to have to go to the section that's just for video, because I took it off the front page. Go to the video section, and it's the first thing there. So make sure y'all go back and listen to that. I'm probably gonna do another live tomorrow. So make sure y'all on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because the podcast is coming. The podcast is coming every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to do something a little fun. I'll probably try to find a couple videos to play and react to from like off of TikTok and stuff. So today was a little serious, but it needed to be said. And tomorrow I'm going to try to have, we're going to talk about some stuff, but I'm going to try to have a little fun with it. Now that I know how to play videos during the IG Live and all that, I got toys and tools now. So, Love Tucker, you popping up live. I need to see that. I need verification that that's happening. So I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna definitely try to catch that. That's a monumental event. So we gonna see what that looks like. Yeah. Nah, that's the whole thing. Love Tucker. They pop-ups for a reason. I don't know when they're going to happen until I have time. So sometimes you don't get a head up. Sometimes it be right in the moment. The more substantial ones, I'll try to give y'all a heads up like that morning, so y'all will know that it's coming. But most of the time I'll be sitting here doing my work, and I'll be like, hey, maybe I should go live in 30 minutes or whatever. So I'll try to give y'all a heads up, man. But y'all, they call pop-ups for a reason. You just got to catch them. So how many people want to bet on Love Tucker's live, damn it? Anyway, let me get off of here. And I want you guys to be safe. Take care of each other. Take care of your families and the old ones, young ones. Make sure you especially take care of yourself. Make sure you stay rocking with Relationship Gumbo, because we got some things coming. I want you guys to be on this journey with me as I'm on you guys' journey. If there's anything I can do within reason, to help you guys out, I'm here. So until next time, we'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. Y'all have a good night.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones the host, you're